And then after, you got someone comes round and says, "Oh man, I loved when you did that moment where you did the a cappella thing."
And you're like, yeah, that was definitely on purpose.
Why are you sweating so much for that? It's like, it's not that hard. I'm Craig David.
I am Dan from a band called Bastille, and we are going to do a really hard-hitting interview with each other.
I'm seeing that there may be things that are happening in the world that are kind of like ruffling a lot of feathers, but the beauty in anything when there's madness that's going on is when people see the madness. It's when you can't really understand what's really going on. It's sort of under the radar. But now people are like, this is madness that's going on here.
I think because you could get so, like we were saying this before, you can get watching the news and seeing what's happening and world events and how it's filtered through. It can be so easy to sort of be incredibly brought down by it and feel defeatist about it. But I guess it's important to look at the positives. Look at when terrible things happen. Look to the people who react in an amazing positive way.
Exactly.
And try and affect positive change and try and increase awareness. And I think with the election in the UK, it was amazing to see the voice of the youth and that tension between the youth and the sort of old people. I think it's as Brits who spent time in America, it's a sort of horrifying and fascinating time to see the sort of like leader of the free world, endorse unspeakably awful and untrue images and opinions and things, and it's I guess it's really confusing, but it also hopefully will draw out people who don't believe those things and can see that they're not right, and I guess rather than just being horrified by it, it's important to kind of hope that it will affect a positive change in reaction to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're 100% with that, man. Since moving back like 2.5 years ago now, from Miami, it was the best decision ever. Like I went out there with like, live the dream, sports car and the pad and to be honest, I mean,
it must have been really fun.
Yeah, it was so hard, man. It's so hard driving that car. You got speed. It's
pulling up in that, getting everywhere early because of how fast it was. The
curveball in it is that, like, I thought it was going to complete me a lot. I thought, I'm out here and I've got all these things materialistically. It seemed like on paper correct, but still felt a bit empty about like. I went there with the dream. I found like. Something beautiful came out of that period of time of being in Miami that I needed to come back. And when I came back, that's when I met Big Nasty for the first time, and Corrupt FM, Mr. Jam Show, the 16 tune, the freestyle over Where Are You Now, Justin Bieber happened, and all of a sudden that went viral. Met Big Nasty when the bassline drops happened. So that going to Miami, it was weird because now I can speak from such a more comfortable, balanced place. Have you spent time away, by the way?
Other than going up north to university, I've never lived out of London, but we're lucky enough to tour a lot, and I think it's one of those things I never expected to sort of take over my life like it did. But we spent the best part of like a whole year in America. I really love coming home and seeing people and catching up with everybody, and so it's become like for me and for my band, we all I think feel like let's enjoy when we're away, but then also like knowing that we'll go home and just go back to normal and I guess live completely as it sort of was from before.
Yeah. Born to Do It, the title came from that movie. Just when the kid runs into the candy shop, he said, to the candy man, how does he do it? And the candy man says, well, my dear boy, do you ask a fish how it swims? He says, no. He goes, do you ask a bird how it flies? He says, no. There's no siree, you don't. They do it because they were born to do it. I was like, ooh, I'm having some of that.
I love that, yep.
And then if you want to have how that film has it's followed me, like when I was about to release Follow My Intuition, I watched, it came up randomly like on TV, so I watched the movie.
Yeah.
And there was a point where Charlie gets the golden ticket, runs in, sees Grandpa Joe, they're running around the room, he jumps out of bed because he can like walk for however long, and they're getting a bit hyped. And then the mum comes over and says, okay guys, it's nice that you've been a little hyped for a moment, but you know that tomorrow is when the days that you go to the chocolate factory, and then they kind of calm down. And I stopped for a minute, and I think that it was September 30th, that's right. So obviously it was October 1st, it was going to be like when it dropped.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of all the days, that my album was going to be dropping, yeah? That it was going to be dropping on the day that he actually, it was September 30th, that he found the golden ticket.
Oh, no way.
And I was just like, are you for real? I had shivers going down my spine thinking, you know what, this same movie, and then to have another #1 album and the whole thing that came with it in the tour.
Humble brag, yeah.
Well, you know, just got to let people know. Otherwise it doesn't link too well. It's like, what album are you talking about? But amazing. So, but anyway, what movies?
Oh, I don't know.
You had to pick 3 movies.
Oh, that's so hard. I love David Lynch. I like kind of weird, surreal stuff. I mean, I could pick the 3 like tour bus classics.
Classic it out.
You've got like your Jurassic Park.
Jeez.
I think aesthetically, there's a film called Mulholland Drive by David Lynch that just, as a teenager, just blew my mind. And his use of music in the film is amazing in terms of like reinterpreting other songs. There's this really beautiful Spanish a cappella female sung version of Crying by Roy Orbison. And I didn't know any of Roy Orbison's music until then. So it kind of introduced me to like a lot of music and a lot of different film styles, and I don't know, it led me down a path of love for David Lynch and for all of his work, and that inspired a bunch of songs that we did. So I don't know, maybe that, but it was, but it's not like, it's not a film that you'd necessarily recommend to everybody,
right? Because
it's really bizarre.
It feels like it did in 2000 when I had released Born to Do It. Just the type of, the sound of music, like there's certain songs now that are kind of like blowing up, like if you hear, I don't know, TLC No Scrubs, or you heard Mario Let Me Love You, or a few of those kind of huge R&B, or even Usher, if he released Confessions and he had Yeah and all these kind of songs, Nice and Slow and all this, you'd be like, this fits perfectly in the time and space we're in. But the production has kind of lent into a slightly different place. So I think as far as American musically, it's like, it's ripe for the UK acts going there. Because I remember at that time, it was like, all eyes were on the UK. And I'm starting to see that already. Like, you can see Drake's his eyes are very much on what's happening over here. He's really conscious of what's happening here, yeah.
Musically, America at the moment, I think is amazing. And I wish that the diversity in music was reflected in politics, but it's such an amazing. It's, you know, looking at the Grammy nominations that just came out, looking at the charts, like hip hop is like king at the moment, and it's just huge and insanely popular, and it's fucking awesome. Like, it's so good to see so many interesting new artists and old artists and heritage artists. You know, to have Jay-Z come back with an incredible record that people absolutely adore, and someone like Kendrick, like, you know, 3 albums in, it's interesting to see how that's just become the mainstream, and to watch, to sort of look back at the history of hip hop and it go from kind of from where it did and its inception right through to sort of being like an underground thing, being a cool thing, and then now it's the most mainstream music.
Hip hop at the moment is starting to like lean into that world where hip hop and R&B joins, which was Mary J. Blige when she came out with her first album. And what Puffy did a lot with Notorious B.I.G. When you listen to those records, he kind of made it have a bit more pop melody, but Biggie could still do his thing. Or Tupac, and then you're kind of like, you can pull out the Kendrick Lamars and the J. Coles, and you can and Chance the Rapper's coming through. So it's like, I can see it already. It's almost like if you've been there the first time around, you can see this is the 2000s playing out again. And if you watch it, it'll be, I really hope that now with the grime scene, which is fantastic, which kind of took the baton from Garage.
It'd be so good if that jumped over.
It holds, because I think they're starting to lean, grime isn't really grime now, it's trap. If you listen to what the actual grime artists are actually are rapping over, it's trap records. So that's why there's that great link between the hip hop scene in America and here. And I think it's that beautiful moment where it's so ripe for a song for us to do what we're doing together. And then it'll have another phase, it'll go back into guitar music, and then will be more EDM thing will happen again. It has these phases, but right now it's a good time for both of our styles of music, you know what I'm saying?
The people who seem to have long careers, I think there's a sort of humility to them, and I think there's also that drive to not want to necessarily just repeat yourself. What's been impressive for me to watch is you working with new producers, working with different artists, even working with someone like me, like pushing your sound into lots of different places. And I think it's important to always imagine that you're like a new act. You have something to prove. I think that's like, 100%, rather than ever like resting on your laurels, and I guess that's where complacency comes from. But also, I think, thank you.
No, it's true. I said the other day that when you're happy that someone could hear I Know You, and that in their eyes could be the first song they've ever heard from me and you.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. More so from me. I mean, because in terms of like, for having a career that has spanned that long, it's like, don't worry about the early stuff, because you may go there. But if this is your first song, and I'm cool with it, whereas a lot of people hold on to that baggage and they're like, no, but I want you to know about how much I've done and what I used to play here and I used to.
Yeah.
That's all good, that's fine, and that's always going to be with you. But for how are you relevant to this moment? And if you go approach it like that, it puts you in that place of, okay, if you want it, you can have it. Do you know what I mean? And it's a beautiful journey. You know what I mean?
Are you a poster, or are you like a lurker? Do you check it much?
I'm more of a poster. Recently got into the kind of the Insta stories vibe.
Yeah.
So I can give a bit more.
I guess because I've seen it, like I think you're really natural with it. I always feel like a little like a bit reserved. I always have to think twice before posting something. But it must be interesting for you, like when you first released music, that wasn't
none.
It wasn't a thing. Like
it wasn't a thing. There was no Instagram, no Facebook. I mean, I don't want to sound like we're some sort of dark ages, but just like, but as far as I can remember, no Twitter. There was like, I mean, this is like, you have to get up and go out, and you have to. That's why it's quite.
But is it nice? Is it nice being able to show? Because I guess what's amazing with social media, and in various different forms, for better or worse, but is that you can curate the version of yourself that you put out to the world, and you're an honest person, so it's just you. That must be quite nice, being able to like, and I think that's the thing that's amazing about social media in general, is being able to take the control back and have your own voice direct from you, unfiltered. You can just it's just you, it's yourself.
100%, man. To be able to, I mean, for me, Twitter is a perfect opportunity, which I never got the opportunity the first time around, to actually thank someone directly. Not generic to the whole thing.
Really
I love it, but you know what? It's like, because some people say, oh, is there someone else doing it for you? Or it's like, and I'm just like, you've got to understand, I genuinely love it. I love that someone can be at home in wherever, they're up in Norfolk and they just like at home after having a tea, and they just put a little tweet out there, say, oh yeah, I really enjoyed it when you came and performed it. And you get a direct message back to you saying thank you. I just think it's the most mind-blowing thing to have that ability, and to be able to have used this platform in that way. And Instagram, again, it's like, if you use it without any of social media kind of taking anything away from you enjoying and living in the moment, which I'm all about, you know my vibe. So it's like, if you're doing it, it's like, oh, I've got to do a tweet now, oh, I've got to go and do an Instagram post. It's like, no, if it fits into your world, people will feel and feel it's authentic and real. Yeah. It's when you're thinking about it too much and get the lighting right 1,000, you're just like, that's where it becomes this bit of a facade. Like,
yeah. For us, having started playing, having made music in my bedroom and then started playing shows in like little bars and pubs and stuff, I always felt uncomfortable with the perception of separation. Yeah. Because it's always nice to meet and chat to people who like your music, and it's fucking mind-blowing that some complete stranger,
it's crazy,
particularly like internationally, has heard your stuff, and I remember meeting some girl in Russia who like learned English because she wanted to know exactly what all our lyrics were about, and I was like, that's insane. I'm glad that our music has somehow given you like a helpful life tool, but but it is, and I think that's the nice thing about social media. Like, I think you're really good at appreciating people when they say nice things, and it's good. I think that's a really nice take-home message.